Hey y'all. Wait a minute. What's that? Okay. Hey y'all. It's your girl Jada J. Now this episode tonight, y'all. This episode was crazy. Now this episode, I would say it didn't really have that many scenes, but the scenes we got they were longer, which is fine because we needed everything, and it was all in all a pretty interesting episode. And I will be doing my shout outs at the end of this video, so hopefully it doesn't run too long, which is why I should probably start talking about this. Okay, so here we go. We open up with Catherine. Now we know last week she got the confirmation Wyatt is dead. I still don't know because Tyler's tricky, y'all. Do y'all really think Maggie and Wyatt are dead? Both of them? I don't know. I'm not gonna say nothing. That ain't none of my business. But okay, so we open up with Catherine. Hannah's coming in. Of course, Catherine's on the couch. She's distraught. So Hannah's coming in. She's like, take these, and they're like some pills. And Catherine's like, am I really going through this again? Like, am I really going through this? And Hannah's like, yeah. And she was like, losing one child wasn't enough. She's like, this isn't fair. She's like, I know. Just, take the pills, drink the water. And then she's like, Hannah, is this what you meant when you told me that I was going to reap what I sow? Is this what you meant? And she was like, Mrs. Cryer, I can't answer that. It was kind of like trying to ask her, is this what you meant? Like my son was going to end up dead because, we covered up the crime. So she kind of tried to avoid it any way she possibly could, but she kind of kept, poking at it. So she came back with something. But yeah, so she goes, remember you told me, and Hannah's like, what are you talking about? And she goes, when you came to visit me that one day in jail. I can't find it, y'all. I wrote it down too. Something like, because we covered up that crime, we're going to get everything back to us. Something like that. And she was like, Mrs. Cryer, please, come on, let's just go upstairs. I'm going to, just lay down. So she's like, no, Hannah, please, you got to tell me. She's like, Mrs. Cryer, what you put out, you get back. She was like, and I'm not saying that God took your child. I don't know if I agree with that statement. I'm not saying that God took your children. I don't think God takes anybody. So that's just my personal thing, though. Anyway, I know. No personal beliefs. Okay. That's what the lawyers are telling me. You know what? I'm thinking I should get a new career. Anyway, all right. So yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm not saying God took your children to punish you, but I'm saying don't plant an apple tree and expect no apples not to grow on it. You know what I'm saying? You will reap what you sow. I'm sorry, pretty much what she's trying to tell her. She's like, she just keeps saying, like, my daughter wasn't enough. So then she's like, well, we've planted a lot of apples. A lot of apple trees, she said. So then she's like, all right, let's not do this, just go lay down. And she's like, thank you, Henny. I really appreciate you, being here for me. And she's like, you don't have to thank me. I told you I'd be here. And she was like, yeah, but you didn't have to be. And you are. So thank you. And she's just, so then she finally asked her, she goes, would you do me a favor, Hannah? No, because it was like, she was just talking. And then the moment she was, oh my God, who's going to tell Jim? And then it kind of just clicked. It wasn't even like she really thought about it. She's like, I can't do it. She was like, Hannah, could you please? I just need you to talk to him. She was like, Mrs. Cryer, you can't ask me to do that. She's like, Hannah, please. I can't talk to him. I can't even look at him. She's like, Mrs. Cryer, this is your husband and you need to talk to him. She's like, I can't even look at him. Come on. And then Hannah's like, who do you think I am? And she was like, a child of God. You are, and you tell me that you are. She's like, can you please do this for me? She was like, Hannah, you represent compassion. And Jim sees that. She was like, and then she goes, you want me to tell a man who covered up the car crash of my son? You want me to tell him that his son and Catherine cut off? She goes, yes, like, please. She was like, you said you'd be here for me. She was like, yes, and I am here for you. I'm here for you. And she's just like, please, Hannah. I don't want him to hear it from a DA. I want him to know just from somebody, and I can't stand to look at him. That's my son. I can't tell him. So then, and the long story short, Hannah pretty much agrees to it. Then we switched to Ken. That was actually a pretty long scene. We needed it though. It was a nice scene between those two. It kind of helps to show the foundation of the friendship is cracked, but we don't know if it's broken yet. So then we switched to Candace's. Now she is sleeping initially, okay? And Ward comes up, and I knew it was him even before they showed him officially. and she's laying there, and he's caressing her, caressing all down her back, and he did something. I don't know what he did, y'all. If he went up her skirt or whatever it was, because she said, like, it wasn't like, because I would have felt somebody caressing me. But then this goes back again to Kelly from If Loving Was Wrong. She didn't know Travis was filling her up. Really, Kelly? Anyway. So, but I don't know. I think he did something because it just was kind of like, okay, dang, you did all that. I would have just been like, what is this? Anyway. Okay. Personal beliefs again. Okay, yeah, so he's caressing her. So she wakes up. He's kind of got his hand around her neck a little bit. You see? So then he goes, time's up, baby. This is all today. She's like, well, I'm going to get the money today. I'm going to go to the bank, get the money. And he's like, okay, well, give me that money by 5 or Benny is done. No, then first he goes, I went down to the tow yard. She goes, for what? He was like, insurance. I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to call him and let him know what was going on. She was like, I wasn't going to do that. He goes, I know. So anyway, he goes, I want my money by 5 today. She was like, you said I had till 12. He said, banks close at 5, Candy. And then, starts kind of choking her up a bit, which still didn't explain that labored breathing she was doing, because he was doing something else. I don't know. He was touching her or something when she was talking. I don't know what it was, y'all. I felt very just, what is this? I don't know. So then, yeah, he said when the clock strikes 5, he's dead. Yeah. So I don't know why she meant 12 a.m. everybody. I'm assuming, because why would you want to say you had less time than what he gave you? Yeah, so she's just like, I'm gonna get the money today, and he's like, okay, and then he starts to rape her again. Because then she proceeds on, because she knows what he's doing, so he starts like kissing all down her, and she's like, Ward, please, and then he just keeps on. So we know what happened. Again, I'm over it, y'all. I'm over that. We don't need to see this no more. We don't need to. Then we switch to Benny's, okay? Benny's time. Now, Mitch is in there. Benny is coming in. He goes, do we got the phones running up yet? Mitch is like, nah, dude. He was like, well, did you talk to Mr. Hanson? He's like, yeah. He was like, no luck. He was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? He was like, that ain't a good look for you, B. And then so he's like, so what you know about this? What do you really know about War? He was like, oh my gosh, here we go with this. Look, War is like my family. We known them forever. It's me, him, and Candace, this, that, and the third. And then he asked something specifically about, and he was like, he cool like that with your sister? And he was like, yeah, man. Why are you asking so many questions about my sister? He was like, no reason. So then he asked him, he goes, and what are you doing? Why are you trying to point all these fingers at War? And he's like, what you doing? He was like, man, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just trying to get these phones back up. But actually, I want to say that before that, he was like, what you trying to do? You trying to get at my... Because he asked him, he goes, are War and her, do they have a more of a physical relationship? And he goes, man, no. Like, I'm telling you, that's family right there. He was like, why you trying to get with my sister? He's like, nah. And I knew he was lying. Mitch and Candace, they had a little something going. Maybe when they was teenagers, they had a little something going on. If they've known each other for that long. Because, I didn't appreciate what was going on there either. So he was like, man, nah, I always cared about her, but it ain't never been like that. Yeah, that's what War was saying. So anyway, so he picks up the phone, and he's like, dang, these phones still ain't back. And he was like, man, I tell you what, if these phones ain't back on in an hour, I'm going down there and talking to Mr. Harrington. So then Mitch is like, yo, Benny, you sure that's a good idea? He was like, yeah, man. So then he says, again, he was like, look, are you still trying to get Ward to go into business with us? He's like, yeah. So he goes, what if I don't like that? He was like, man, look, here we go again. Why do you always keep trying to go for him? Why do you keep doing that? He's like, I'm just trying to tell you, like, how well do you know this dude? Are you sure him and Candace, he's never tried to touch her or anything like that? There's never been anything that's going on with them? He's like, man, no. Like, listen, he was like, let me tell you this. Warlock, I got myself into a lot of crazy situations when I was younger. If I tell you without him, I'd probably be in jail right now. He was like, I'm telling you, that's family. That's like my brother, pretty much. That's my blood. So then he's like, so what did he say? I think he was like, so you still gonna go into business with him? Or whatever. He was like, yo, that's family. He was like, so I'm not your family now? He was like, no disrespect, man, no offense, but I've known him longer. So if you want to go into business with me, that's cool, but he's coming along with the package pretty much. So he's like, all right, man, I got you. Who rolls up on the scene? Bam. And Mitch said that too. He goes, speak of the devil, there go your family, right? He didn't do the quotation, but he said family. He got to your family right there. I said, all right, Mitch, you don't got to be bitter. Okay, so then Warlock comes in, talking to Benny like everything is cool. Didn't appreciate that because you snaked. You know what I'm saying? I don't appreciate it. We know you pissed at Candace, but this is somebody Oh yeah, but remember that don't mean nothing because remember he killed his pops. He proclaimed that to us and proudly too when he said it. Oh, you know I was cool with my pops, but anyway. So he's like, "Oh, you coming to join us, man?" He's like, "Nah, man, just for the day." He was like, "I'm not gonna take my eyes off you." Of course, Benny didn't get it. He goes, "I'm gonna, keep my eye on this whole establishment right here." So then he's like, "It's just the two of us, man." So he's like, "Oh, here go Mitch over here." He was like, "Yeah, what's up? What's up?" Like, just I don't really like you. And then Mitch was like, "I'm about to go get some coffee." He was like, "What you talking about, man? I just made a whole pot." He was like, "I don't want that crap. I'm going to get some real coffee." So then Mitch leaves. And then War is like, "What's his problem?" He's like, "Man, I don't know." Then gets gets Warlock to sit in the chair. He's like, "The boss chair, man, that's looking real good on you," and this, that. Pretty much trying to convince him you should come and work with us, but it wasn't really working, honestly. Because he just wasn't going for it. So then we switch back to Candace's, right? Now Jeffrey is coming in. He's like, "I just came by to get some of my clothes," and she was like, this is what your mother wants, right? Like your mom's waiting on you." He's like, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, okay. Well, your phone came today. It's been ringing off the hook." He's like, "Oh, all right." He was like, "And you do know Maggie Day is there?" She was like, "Yeah, boo hoo." Of course, I didn't expect nothing less from Candace because most people would be surprised. Like even when you hate somebody and they deaf, you gonna say boo hoo, but it's Candace. So and then he's like, "She was killed at my mom's house, right?" Yep. And he was like, "Well, Candace, I'm just trying to say we need to." Jeffrey, I have a lot going on. One thing at a time. Okay, I have a lot going on. Just one thing at a time. Bam, gets a call. Who was it? Officer McCreep. All right, and I didn't know. Did y'all think that was Landon? Because I kind of thought it was him. I don't know. And then I started to recognize Jeffrey got it before I did because I was like, "Who is this?" And then I finally. So then he's like, "How did you get this number?" He was like, You gonna ask a cop that question? You gonna ask a cop that question?" So then he's like, "What do you want?" He was like, "I just want to see you." He was like, "I'm busy." He was like, "It'll only be for a little while." He was like, "Be at the Surrender in an hour." He's like, "No." He was like, "You still got that room?" Jeffrey was quiet. He was like, "I asked you a question. Do you still have that room?" He was like, "I'm going to need 2 hours." He was like, "Okay, well, I'll see you in 2." Candace comes back downstairs and is like, "Lock up when you're done." She goes outside. Bam. Who's out there? Mitch. And this is where we learn. And I felt like he was lying. Like maybe he was a little sweet on Candace. Not because he cared about her. Because you could just care about a friend, But I don't know. He was giving me some kind of vibe. Like, I don't know. Okay, so then. Okay. So anyway, she gets outside. Mitch is out there. And he's like, "Is everything okay? Is everything okay? What's going on with you and Ward?" You and I, she's like, "Mitch, I can't talk." He's like, "No, no, no, just wait." He's like, "Look, we seen each other. I heard everything that's going on. What's going on? Like, is he taking intercourse from you and then, until you get him this money?" And no, because first he was like, what is this about? She's like, "I can't tell you. I'm sorry, I can't tell you." He was like, "Okay, I guess I'll go tell Benny." And she's like, "No, no, you can't do that." He was like, "Candace, just tell me. Like, this is me. Just tell me." She's like, "All right, I owe him some money." He goes, "Oh, well, how much? How much? Did you need a loan?" She was like, "You ain't got this money." He goes, "Look, I can call my brothers," which is kind of something that comes up a little later. And she's like, "No, no, no. You can't get your brothers involved. Like, you just can't do it." Okay. So she's like, "I appreciate you caring and this, that, but I got it. Okay, I've got it. I'm going to handle it." And that's when he was like, "So is he just kind of taking it from me so he can get this money?" No, he's not doing that. It's kind of try to say it was consensual when we know it's really not. So then he's like, "Then why are you doing it?" She was like, "Look, Mitch, I'm good, all right." And then she's like, "I want to thank you for caring." And then he's like, you know, I always have." And she was like, "Yeah, I do." And she was like, "But you can't tell Benny." He was like, "I never did." And I had a feeling he wasn't talking about that situation that went down when, Ward pinned her up against the fence. We didn't need it. I had a feeling he wasn't talking about that because then she came up and kissed him, and it was like old times. That's how they look. Like, all right, And then she was like, so please move your car so I can get up out of here." And he was like, "All right," and he moved the car. Bam! What did you do? Get in the car, call somebody by the name of Riley. Now he watches her pull out first, and then he gets in. Then he makes the call after he's sure that she's gone. So then he's like, "Yo, Riley, you still got that narc cop on the payroll?" So he like, "Oh yeah, man, I need him to pop someone for me." "Yeah, his name is Will. He'll have an old car. I'll text you all the information later. But what you should know is it's a spare tire in the trunk, cocaine, crystal, about a kilo of coke." "Okay, man. Yeah. All right. And then bye." I'm hoping Mitch don't get himself in trouble. That's because she said, I'm pretty sure these are his brothers right here. I'm thinking, should he have done that? We know his heart's in the right place, but should he have done that? I'm gonna say no. Okay. And I think I might be missing something. Okay, I'm gonna just go like this, y'all. Okay, so then we switch to Jeffrey. He's pulling into his mom's driveway. Now, she hired a cleaning crew to clean up Maggie's blood off the driveway. It didn't seem like it was working. So Jeffrey rolls up. He sees the blood. He's kind of shook. You know, he's covering his nose. That's what he did with Quincy. We remember. It was a flashback. I didn't love that outfit that Jeffrey was wearing. I'll tell you that. And it wasn't because it was flamboyant. It was just like, really, Jeffrey? I didn't like the shirt. It didn't match. And I hate when Jeffrey wears anything floral because I liked it because it spikes his mom and he looks good. I'm not saying he don't look good in it. I'm just saying I don't know. Because if we go back, I don't know what season that was. He had on a floral shirt. And if y'all remember the episode of March for Justice, I didn't like that shirt. But it was a nice suit, but it was just, I didn't like that purple and lime green though. I didn't like that. Sorry, I'm just being picky. We love Jeffrey. I didn't love that outfit. Okay. So then he comes in. Veronica is telling the housekeeper, the wicks should never look like that, okay? Trim the wicks. Jeffrey comes in. Hey, Mom. Hey, aren't you going to give me a... No, she goes, hey, Jeffrey. He's like, hi. She was like, aren't you going to give me a hug? So he rolls his eyes and then gets like a little pat. So then she was like, and then looks at his outfit and she was like, oh, honey, what are you wearing? She was like, you just don't listen, do you? So she was like, now you're going to have to go back and change before dinner. And she's like, so go back to wherever it is that you came from, okay, and get changed. And then she goes, in the meantime, no, she goes, but first I want to show you your room. He goes, Mom, I'm not staying here. She goes, oh, yes, you are. He was like, Mom, come on, Mom. She was like, boy. And then you know how Veronica is flawless when she does that, boy. And just okay, all right. So then she gets him, of course, to go upstairs to the room. When I tell you this witch played down and before they get up there, she asks Alice, the housekeeper, she goes, can we get some champagne? By the way, something funny happened with that later on with the housekeeper. Not as funny as it was mean, but so anyway, this witch, I said witch, just know. They get up there. She has done the whole room down to a T with the lavender bed set to the animal, giraffes, elephants, and all that. She's got the nursery set up in the place where, there's gonna be Melissa and him are gonna be in there. So she goes, well, this is where you and Melissa are gonna be staying until after the wedding and after the baby is born. That way I have plenty of time to spend with my grandchild. And she's like, don't you like it? Don't you just love this? And she knows he doesn't, so she's trying to be funny. That's how I saw it. Okay. So she goes, do you want a drink? He's like, no, Mom, I don't want no drink. She was like, oh, you don't trust me? He was like, are you forgetting that a woman was just murdered outside of your house yesterday? Oh, yes, well, that's unfortunate. I'm so sad. Oh, but I heard there was also a murder at your house. That was unfortunate, too. Would you like to talk about it? Mom, I'm just asking you. She was like, I always give you a choice, Jeffrey. Now, one might be better than the other, but I always give you a choice. That's exactly what she said. She's like, so now, do you want to talk about the wedding? Or do you want to talk about the murder that took place at Candace's house? He's quiet. I asked you a question, boy. The wedding. And then that's just how I couldn't stand it. I didn't love her hair tonight. Am I being hateful, y'all? I can't tell. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, and then no, okay, it took him a while. So then she was like, don't take so long to make a choice. Bam. And then, yes, and then she goes, why don't you come back tonight with a simple suit? Something simple, okay? Don't come back with that on. She didn't like the lavender and the lime. I didn't like the lavender. That's it. If he would have worn like a black shirt, because the shoes and the pants was matching. And then it was like, Jeffrey, We love Jeffrey. I didn't love that outfit. All right, so yeah. And then she's like, "Do you understand me?" And he was like, "Yes, mother." She was like, "I brought all boy clothes. I hope it's a boy. We got enough feminine energy around here." Didn't appreciate that. And then she was like, "I called your father. I hope he comes because this is a happy time." She's like, "Happy, happy, happy." And then she's like, "Now go. Get dressed, get dressed." And I want to point out back when they were in the room, she had showed him like some shirt. She was like, "I love this. I just couldn't resist." And all of this, I was over it. Just over it. Okay. Then we switch to the bank. Now Candace is about to sign the papers, and didn't y'all think? Come on, Candace, are you gonna see it? She didn't see it, so she's signing the papers to get the loan. And the guy's kind of trying to rush her a little bit, like, "Oh yeah, just sign here. And she's like, "I need to read this." He's like, "Of course you do." And he's like, "Just sign right here." And she's like, "I have to read it." And he's like, "Ma'am, if you want to read every page, we're not gonna have enough time to get this process so that you can get your money." So then he's like, "Do you want your money today?" And she's just like, "Yeah." So then she goes, "How long is this gonna take?" And he goes, "As soon as this gets processed, you're good." So she was like, "I need it in cash." He said, "Excuse me?" She said, "I need the 2 million in cash." He said, $2 million in cash? Well, we can't do that. Why not? $2 million? That no. First he goes, "This need to be put into a specific account," and then that's when So then he's like, "Ma'am, we can't do that." Well, why not? Because we don't have $2 million laying around. That kind of money has to be ordered. Well, please, please, I need that money by 5 o'clock today. I'm sorry, man, but we can't. Please, Mr. Bowman, please. Okay, well, I can call some of the other branches and see, but I don't know. So then she's like, "Thank you." And then that's how he gets her to sign the paper. He's like, "Sign," when he's on the phone. So then she's like, "Okay," and signs it. I guess that was smooth on his end, but we're over it. Then we switch to Brandon. Jeffrey trying to cuddle up with the officer. He's like, "So I guess I can't get no type of affection. And I guess that's too much to ask." And he's like, "Jeffrey, uncuff me." And then so he's like, "I guess the moment's over." He's like, "Uncuff me, Jeffrey. I'm not playing games." So then he gives him the key. So he's like, "I guess you're not scared that this week I'm going to bash your face." And he's like, "I honestly don't care. I just don't care." So then the officer, he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And it's that he's like, "Nothing." And, just, "I don't really want to do this no more. Just so you know, I'm over it." No, first he's like, "You even cuffed me tighter this time. So I know that you're angry today." And so he goes, "Oh yeah, and you still enjoyed it, right?" He's like, "Look, we don't. When this is all over with, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it." And he was like, "Okay." He goes, "We don't talk about it in the daylight. We don't talk about it in the moonlight." He's like, "Because we're men, and I'm not." He was like, "You're not gay. I get it." And he was like, "You know what? I don't want to see you again." And he's like, "What?" He was like, "No, I don't like this. I just don't like it, and you need to get up out of here." Now from Jeffrey, it's like almost a battle of both because there's times when he's super punk, and then there's other times where it's over the top for me. And tonight it was just the super punk took over. And we love Jeffrey. I just wish he would find like that balance somewhere in the middle. Like you could be a nice guy, but you don't have to let people walk all over you. So this was kind of that stance, like, okay, I'm not about to let you walk all over me. But when I say super punk, I mean when it comes to his mom. You don't have to disrespect your mother to let her know, "Mom, this is not going down." And I get it because at this point it's like, okay, I'm not trying to go to jail. She knows about the murder. We know she was a top defense attorney and prosecutor and all that. But like I said, they should already have, him and Melissa should have worked out a plan because he was gunning for her tonight. And she kind of like looked at him kind of shady. But next week, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Anyway, so he's like, "This is over." He was like, "What?" He was like, "You can't." He was like, "You started this. You can't just end it." He was like, "No, you started it. Remember in the backseat of that cop car?" He was like, "Look, Jeffrey, I know we haven't known each other that long, but you said a lot of things that made sense to me. I mean, I'm not into this or anything like that, but." And Jeffrey was like, "You are sick." He was like, "You are a sick man. You need." And he's like, "You know what? Nah, just get out. I don't want to talk to you. I'm done." And then he was like, "There you are, getting all temperamental like a chick." He goes, "At least I wasn't screaming like one." Didn't appreciate. I say, "Really, Jeffrey?" So then the dude chokes him up. Jeffrey's like, do what you need to do. I don't care. I really just don't care. So then the dude gets up off him. And he goes, what the heck is wrong with you? He was like, just go. Just be out. You feel me? Then we switch back to Candace. Okay. At the bank. She's getting a call. It's Warlock. So she's kind of scared, shaking. So she hands it to the truster. What they call that? The truster bank guy. Okay, I don't think that's what they call them, but he worked there. He's the banker. He's the banker. So she's like, can you talk to him, please? Tell him, about the money and everything. He's like, okay, well, sure. He goes, hello, Mr. Ward. Yeah, well, we're gonna have the money in about 2 hours, so just give her a little bit more time. We're getting this done. And at first he was like, who is this? He goes, Lloyd Bowman. And then so he was like, hand the phone back to her. He goes, he wants to talk to you. So then Candace takes the phone and he goes, what did you tell him? And she goes, that we needed to be in Vegas and you have the plane landed on the tarmac. She was like, oh yeah, don't worry, honey, we'll be there. I know he always wins, but in all this, and I'll be there and all that. So then Warlock just clicks off on her, so she hangs up. It was too much. I wouldn't have did all that if I was her. I simply would have just been like, look, I told him we going to Vegas. I wouldn't have tried to be all cutesy with it. She was like, I told we're going to be in Vegas, babe, and all. Girl, it was a lot for me. Okay, so, yeah, he hangs up. But at first, he sent her the video. Yeah, he sent her the video of Benny, of him with a concealed gun, but it's pointing toward Benny, and Benny's just kind of sitting there in La La Land, no idea what's going on. So then he hangs up the phone. Yeah, and then Benny is like, yo, it sounded like one of your chicks acting up. He was like, yeah, which is real bad. And then he's like, well, you better put your foot down. He's like, oh, I am. He was like, didn't sound like it to me. Kind of trying to say, sound like you like this one. Bam, we're over it. And then we see him with the gun. Then we switch back to Jeffrey. The cop is leaving, and he goes, you're going to regret this. He's like, I already do. And he's like, you know what? I had you placed all wrong. He goes, how so? He goes, I thought you were a nice guy. He's like, well, sometimes people make you change. And he was like, so, thank you. And he goes, for what? And he goes, you are one of the people who made me change. Takes a seat to put his socks on, and then Jeffrey's just like, get the heck up out of here. You feel me? And that's how that went down. I was, of course, like, you can't be too shocked about it. That's not the type of dude Jeffrey is. Why go back? You out the closet now. You gonna go back to being on the down low? Really, Jeffrey? Like, that's what that was. Okay. So then we switch to War. She tells him she has the money. Meet me at the Frios Benefit and Trust Bank. Then he's like, nah, that's not gonna work. I need you to go ahead and send me a picture. Okay, send me a photograph. 5 seconds. Of War, I can't, but guess what? They're counting the money right now. I'll send you some proof, okay? I'll send you some proof. Bam, hang up the phone. Then we switch to Jeffrey, okay? So he's coming into the house with a floral suit. She asked him to put on a black suit. Simple black suit. No. Jeffrey comes in with a floral suit. I said, okay, Jeffrey. And so he's like, so she said, Jeffrey, why do you always look like I abuse you? Like you're afraid of me? He was like, you know I'm afraid of you. She was like, well, clearly not enough. Because I thought I told you to put on a simple suit. A simple black suit. And you show up in a suit that matches my dress. She goes, I said, simple, and slapped him just like that. He looked like he really had to control himself because he was getting mad. All right. So then she goes, I should send your ass back and make you change, but I'm not. And then she gives him a jewelry box. Oh, what's this? A ring? The ring you're going to give Melissa? I guess it's the wedding ring, y'all, because remember, she already put in the paper that they're engaged. And what is this going to be? Some engagement party? Anyway. So it's hot where I'm at, y'all. So she comes to the door, Melissa. And she's like, Melissa. And she comes in and got the nerve to ask about her parents when you know you blackmailing her. So she's like, oh, you look lovely. Oh, you're not showing yet? No. Okay. Well, how are your parents? Oh, they're doing fine. Oh, did that check help that I sent? Oh, yeah, it did wonders. And just all this. I was over it. So then she looks to Jeffrey. She was like, Jeffrey, when a lady enters the room, you stand. He said, well, where's the lady? I said, okay. Apparently, I shouldn't have laughed. Okay. It was kind of grimy. But the sister, she gave him a look, like, that's the look she gave him. So she was like, well, the lady must be sitting down. Now stand up. And then she was like, come over here and give her a kiss. So he gave her a kiss on the cheek. Then she was like, come on, son, show her that you actually know how to kiss. Kiss her again. Okay, well, we'll work on that. Well, we're having lamb tonight. Oh, I love lamb. Oh, I thought you would. Now, Jeffrey, take her upstairs and show her where you are going to be sleeping and, the baby and this, that. Then this is where she talks out to the housekeeper. Housekeeper, she goes, Alice, could you get the driver to bring in Melissa's stuff, please? Oh, yeah, tries to go off the front door. Alice, use the back door. What the heck is wrong with you? And the housekeeper looked at her like, okay, dang, We ain't gonna mention what color she was, because we don't want to do that. We're not that shady. Yeah. Okay, if I missed something, I'm not sure, but this is where I think this is it. Okay, so then we switch to Jim. He's in jail. Hannah comes to see him. Why are you here? That's Jim, of course, rude. And she's like, I was sent here by your wife. She couldn't be here. Okay, well, why couldn't she come? And then she goes, and he's like, what are you doing here? Oh, let me guess, and just starts doing all this stuff. Oh, you're gonna tell me I shouldn't have tried to cover up for my son. You're gonna tell me he should be behind bars. You're gonna tell me he should be doing this. He should be doing that. And you're gonna tell me you and your little self wanna file a lawsuit against me and get it all. Am I getting any warmer, Hannah? Are you done? I'm done. Now what are you doing here? I came here at the request of your wife to tell you that my son has been what? He died. What? He died. Hannah, what are you saying to me right now? He OD'd. Next week on the haves and the have-nots. That was the last scene, everybody. Now I want to say this. Jim did the same. He's always in shock each time, which of course. He did the same thing with Amanda, David, and the Jedi laughs up. What up, Jedi? He is glad to have you. Good to have you back. Good to have you back. When David told Jim, he goes, Amanda is, dead. And he's like, he was like, David, are you telling me? And it was just like, he couldn't, it wasn't funny. The Jedi laughed. It's your fault, Jedi, because I shouldn't be laughing at that. Anyway, the Jedi was laughing at that because, how he said it. He was like, are you telling me, when he told them, and, he's asking as if he didn't. Anyway, good episode, y'all. Good episode. I'm ready for next week. Don't next week look turned up? Ain't that what the kids are saying? Turned up? Anyway. All right, so I didn't even write any names down. All right, so yeah, shout out to everybody. Okay. Mr. Relsey, by the way, and I should have said this at the beginning of the video, Relsey just did this amazing short film called Deserving Mercy about a young man, Jamal, I believe. I'm sorry if I got that name wrong. He ended up having to take the rap for him and some friends doing some marijuana that wasn't even his, but his friend tucked it into his pillowcase. They checked it. It was his room. They were in college. He ended up, taking a rap for it and did end up being convicted. And it wasn't able to get expunged off his record. It was an incredible short film written, directed, and edited by Mr. Rel C. Appreciate you, Rel. So check that out. I'm going to put the link in the description. And Rel he's been with me since I first, started doing these reviews. So appreciate you, Rel C. Appreciate you. Good to see you here every week commenting. Okay, Antonio Robinson. What's up, Antonio? He been with me for a while too. I think your first comment, you had told me, I think that was a couple weeks back. You were like, you literally took me through the whole episode. I try to be thorough. I know sometimes I overdo it, and I'm just like, okay, Jay, just switch to the next thing. But I don't know, because you guys see my notes. I write too much. But I can't stop writing. Appreciate you, Antonio. I know you said you was gonna hold me to the shout outs. So and I had to remember this week, and hopefully it'll still be up earlier. So definitely appreciate you, Antonio. Hope to get a comment from you this weekend, week after, and after that. Good to hear from you, Antonio. Glenda Williams. She's one of my new subscribers. Good to see you, Glenda. You told me you were subscribing to my channel. I love that. Great to have you on as a subscriber. You also checked on my Elton Sterling video, so I really appreciate that. I tried to speak out on, I don't want to call that a political issue, but the deaths. Very important deaths. I don't even like to word it like that. But because there's another thing I want to say, but I can't say it. But so I appreciate you watching that, because I sometimes just don't, because I'm really always afraid to not afraid. I would just rather not offend somebody. So, but anyway, I appreciate you, Glenda. Hope to hear from you this week as well. Let me see. Brown Sugar, you just subscribed. It used to send me an email every time somebody subscribed to me, but it doesn't do that anymore. So I'll check it, and it'll only tell me like if a couple people subscribe. It don't send me one every time. So, but Brown Sugar, you were on there. Appreciate you, Brown Sugar. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Hope I'm not forgetting nobody. Of course, the Jedi. Good to have the Jedi back, because now I feel like I could really channel. Because sometimes I channel the Jedi, and it just, because he wasn't doing reviews for a while, for a little bit, because he had Ramadan. And so it was a little bit more difficult to channel him, even though I could channel him. Like, it's just, but it's good to have him back now, because now I feel it. Like, I could just channel it. I could channel it. Lawyers, you guys see that? I channel them. It just so good to see you, Jedi. Good to hear from you. Of course, the cousins, I appreciate you guys. I got to check out your review this week. Yours is usually up before mine, so I'll probably end up watching it before. But actually, I have something to do tomorrow. So probably after that. Yeah, because it's late. I should be in bed, actually. All right. But I had to get this out. So appreciate you, the cousins. I hope I'm forgetting no one. If I am, let me know. I'm going to get you next week. All right, y'all. It's your girl, J to J. Peace.